history of Western philosophy, and you see them, they're all scraped up like you just showed. So you can't. This is something that you're born with, and
Absolutely.
And what we do is what we do. We can't. You're born in a certain neighborhood. Maybe if you had a silver spoon in your mouth, you would have went to Harvard, then Princeton, degree.
Well said. Yes.
Yeah, and you would have been sitting somewhere. But I got to tell you, Matt,
No,
you
no.
probably
Well,
you
yeah.
might not have been who you are. It could have been. Yeah. So yeah, it gives you, because you got the double insight.
Yeah.
Like you're in touch. So I got to tell you, that's what, love them or hate them. I don't want to make this political, this conversation.
No. Say it.
Love them or hate them. One of Trump's appeals is that
Bingo.
I don't know how he does it because I haven't figured it out yet. I don't know how a billionaire could talk to working people language, and he pulls.
Yeah, he does. He relates almost. Yes.
You know why, Lou? Because
The grind.
Queens.
There you go.
Oh, Jamaica Estates, right?
And he operated here. Yeah, he had to deal with.
Yeah.
He's from Jamaica Estates, right?
Probably just nailed it, Matt. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Born in Woodhaven and then Jamaica State.
Jamaica Estates. But his father made him. Shut up. Sorry, guys. I'll get it out for the edit. Don't worry. I know a guy that knows a guy that can edit. Ron Gould. Can I just shut them up for a minute, please? Look.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Oh, I love them. That's great.
I had to break up the levity. I had to loosen it up here.
Yeah, that's great.
Listen. So, alternate side, Trump's father made him grind to a sense where I listened to a special years ago, where Trump said his father, got him into the building thing, construction. His father made him go to the sites when the sites were closed, the job site, Matty. And I was a labor, Louie. We understand, Matty. Mikey's the handsy guy. We all understand construction to an extent. He used to go through the job site on a high rise, picking up nails that they didn't use.
Wow.
So the father was very frugal, extremely frugal, and Trump, that was a grind. Who's going for a job? Whether we silver spoon or not, he was understanding at a young age.
Yeah,
he used fucking nails that might have been struck once, went flying, picking up nails on his site. So that's a grind in a sense. His father was on him relentlessly. And it relates this way,
Craig, I know a guy, what you said is so interesting with the nails. I know a guy, he owned a mountain in upstate New York, way up above Cooperstown. And it was a mountain that they had all natural gas in. So he's sitting on a few $100 million maybe. Who knows? He could be sitting on $1 billion. And he lives very well. And he comes from generations that bought the land and always worked the land themselves. Okay. So there's no school, there's no extra, no privilege. So with all his money and all the land that he's sitting on that he could probably sell for who knows how much, he was helping me with a deck I had. I had a house in upstate New York years ago. I sold it. And he was helping me with the deck. And he goes, I'm going to run to the hardware for this, that, the other thing. He goes, and then I go, you got to get these other things too. He goes, I take care of that. He didn't need them because he was going to make certain things himself. And he goes, we threaded our own screws when I was young. I go, how do you screw? You
thread your own screw.
How the frig you thread a screw? He goes, that's how we were taught, he said. And another thing he told me, this is interesting too. They had one of those 100-year floods. Everybody got flooded out. And his area, the government, they told him, turn around, get the fuck out with the trucks. They told him, we don't need your help. So I says, why would you do that? The government's coming in to help you and give you money and this and that. He goes, everything from the government comes with strings attached. We rebuild our own neighborhoods, he said. Yeah. He goes, we don't need it.
Great vision.
Imagine that. They told the government, turn all your vehicles around and get the fuck out. We'll fix our own flooded area. Imagine that.
No, that's real, man. That's real.
Yeah.
That's real. Yeah. Texas won't accept certain things because of stuff like that, because of the strings attached. There's certain programs we don't have because they don't want to be, you got to do this, you got to do that. Nope. So no, that's real stuff. Yeah. Hey, by the way, Reagan, Hoffer did get the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Reagan.
Oh, you got it. Okay, Reagan.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's incredible. So Matt, your new name is Matt Hoffer.
Look that guy up.
Hey, Matty, that's a privilege, Your Honor, because I heard some really fucked up names for people.
Yeah. We ain't gonna take Mad Dog away, but just
No. I go with the other one. Matty would appreciate the other one. The G. Yeah. Yep. I wish I was called that, bro. Come on, Mikey. What do you got? Come on, because Mikey, we do discuss this, Mikey, with your man, the Godfather of New Orleans.
No, that was it.
Oh, yeah. So we got to get back to him. Yeah, I'm
no. Yeah, we know, Louis. We appreciate you spending all this time. By the way, folks, we're with Louis Ferrante here, ex-Gambino, former Gambino guy who did his things the right way, didn't have to secure his future by ratting on anybody else and destroying theirs. No, he stood tall and did what he had to do, face it like a man, and he's out with a redemption story, which makes it a truly right and real redemption story because he did it the right way. That's Sorry, right. I had to tell everybody, remind that. Go to Amazon, go in your pocket, spend $1, buy the guy's book, learn something. Mikey, what do you got?
Right. Yeah. No, that's it, man. Waiting on.
Yeah, I'll get back to it, Mike, now. Yeah. So, and thank you, Craig.
Always.
Yep. So the book started out as I was just going to do a history of the American Mafia, 1 volume, try to get what I could in. I didn't realize it would evolve into a trilogy, and I could have went for 20 volumes. There's so much to talk about, so I had to leave a lot out, but I put a lot in. And the second volume is a lot about, you got the first Colombo War with the gallows, you got Jimmy Hoffa, you got the Bonanno family's first problem when Joe Bonanno, they wanted him to step aside. Yeah. And I got all that in there. So it is a Mafia history, volume 2. But volume 2 also, because the mob was involved with the CIA in an effort to kill Castro, and the mob, I believe, I presented a lot of evidence that I found that leads me to believe that Marcello was the hub or a big part of the conspiracy and people in killing people. And I'll tell you why. And let me just say, when I say evidence, over the years before this latest document dump, where I think they released 80,000 documents, and I was going through them every day in the beginning, and I was plowing through them, and I started to realize that a lot of the nuggets we've had already that have come out over the years by accident, that slipped out. And the other thing, I do feel that most of the best stuff has been destroyed, and I'll explain both of those to you. So yeah, the first thing is, you got to figure the CIA and the FBI have been holding these files for 60 years. Now they've had 60 years now to slip into the archive room in the middle of the night with a paper shredder, and you're not going to tell me that nobody figured out how to do that. I mean, it's their building. It's not like I'm breaking into Craig's house, or Craig's breaking into Matt's house, or Matt's breaking into Mike's house. It's our house.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We have
doing our own stuff.
It's our own stuff. Right. Hey guys, before it comes out, why don't we destroy everything that points to us? Right? Okay, so so I've always believed that the biggest stuff has been destroyed. The Secret Service, all of their files were confiscated very early on. We never saw them. The CIA during the Warren Commission, which was, for those of people who are listening, it was the commission that was set up to investigate the death of John F. Kennedy. The Warren Commission got a lot of stuff from the FBI, but they didn't get stuff from the CIA a lot. They got like a few little things, just like, okay, we gave you something, but they never really gave them much. And later on, all of the things that we have were either through the dogged pursuit of FOIA requests, Freedom of Information requests, or something slipped out now and then that shouldn't have came out. So through that, I was able to piece together the puzzle, and I have all the reference notes in the back of my book of volume 2, Borgata Clash of Titans, which is the second volume. And all of the reference notes are
What's the name of that book, Louis, again? What's the name of the book, Louis?
Borgata.
Hit him again.
Yep, Borgata Clash of Titans. Yep.
Gotcha.
And, that's volume 2. So Rise of Empire is volume 1.
That's the one I listened to, yep.
Yep. And Clash of Titans is 2. That goes deep into the Kennedy assassination.
Get the book, people.
Thank you. Thanks, Craig. Yep. So what I was able to figure out was, and look, I'm not uncovering anything that's like, to my credit, I put pieces together that nobody connected. But
you put the puzzle together, no doubt.
Yeah, I put it together. Yeah. But I never I'm not trying to say I lifted this rock, and underneath this rock, I found, the smoking gun. And here it is. It's got everybody's prints on it. Let's send it for DNA. Like, I don't have that. I was able to grab all these pieces from all over the place and tell a story. Yeah, and tell a story. And the story that I told, and the evidence supports it, is that Bobby Kennedy, John F. Kennedy's brother Bobby, went after the mob before the Kennedys were in office.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, the mob hated the Kennedys because of that. But they were able to convince the Kennedys, if you help us get into the White House, we're going to go easy. We don't give a shit about the mob. We're going to go on to civil rights for African Americans, slowing down the nuclear arms race. There are bigger issues that we're concerned about in this country that we don't care about a couple of mob guys gambling and stuff. Okay, so the mob buys it for the most part, and they buy in, they help support Kennedy, and it's all in the book how they supported him, getting him into office, especially in Chicago and a bit in Texas too. But they supported him getting him into office. Once they get him in, they appoint Bobby Kennedy Attorney General. Jack Kennedy, John. And he puts Bobby in. And Bobby, instead of forgetting about the mob, goes after them with a vengeance.
Just boom.
Boom, right after them. Now, Marcello was one of two Dons, him and Santo Trafficante, who refused to support the Kennedys. So when Chicago and New York says, yeah, we'll support them, Trafficante from Florida and Marcello from Louisiana said, shit that, we ain't giving them a nickel. We're going to support anybody who goes against them. First, they supported Johnson, and then they supported Nixon to try to get Kennedy out of there. They didn't want him in. So Bobby had a special hatred for Trafficante and Marcello because they never supported his brother. So now he goes after all the mob bosses around the country, so they're pissed. But he's going after Marcello and Trafficante with a special vengeance. Yeah. So at some point, Marcello, at the same time, this is interesting too. When Batista got thrown out of Cuba, Batista was the old leader of Cuba, and Castro came down from the Sierra Maestra Mountains, and he ousted Batista. Batista left in the middle of the night. The famous scene from The Godfather 1 or 2. They leave on a plane. That's like in, the president's gone. They're bombing the casinos. And that came from real life. So Batista leaves. Castro comes in. Now, all of the Cuban exiles that landed in Miami, they're saying, look, we want to go back and take back our island. And the CIA says, we'll train you. We'll put guns in your hands. You hit the beaches and we'll support you. And you go back and throw Castro out because we can't allow the domino effect, meaning communism spreading throughout Latin America. We can't allow it to start in Cuba and then spread across the Caribbean and Latin America. So we're going to stop it here, they said. So they go and they support the CIA, backs the Cuban exiles. This is going to tie back in with Marcello, just so you know. So they back the Cuban exiles. And the Cuban exiles heroically hit the beaches, the Bahia Conchillos. I can't remember the pronunciation, but it's the Bay of Pigs.
Bay of Pigs, yeah.
Yep. They hit the beaches, and they're bogged down on the beaches because Castro knew they were coming, and Castro's got tanks, MiGs, and he's got them bogged down on the beaches, and they know they're outnumbered. So they're telling the Americans, the CIA told them, we'll send in reinforcements. But Kennedy said, no, we're not going to get involved in that. I don't want to look like America's a big superpower bully in this little nation. So, but the CIA went behind his back and promised the Cubans that we'd help them. So the Cubans are now going, look, they're sending signals. The last signal came from the beach. It was picked up by a ham radio operator in New Jersey. And he said, and it was a guy, not Sergio Alcacha Smith, Pepe San Roman. He's pinned down on the beaches. He's one of the Cuban leaders. And he goes, look, we're waiting. He goes, we're fighting. We quit. But we need the help you promised. Don't abandon us. Please, don't abandon us. We'll keep fighting. And they got to tell you, man, they had balls. This little group killed way more in proportion of Castro's outnumbered army than they should have, because they fought like dogs on that beach trying to push inland.
Yeah.
But in the end, they just never got the support that the CIA promised them, and they blamed Kennedy. The CIA blamed Kennedy and said, you know, you double-crossed them, and you're being soft on communism. So they're really pissed at Kennedy. The CIA and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Joint Chiefs are pissed at Kennedy. The Navy's pissed at Kennedy. The Navy had boats offshore ready to help them. And now the Cuban exiles, they're pissed shit at Kennedy going, how do you betray us? How do you train us for a year, give us guns and send us on the beach and leave us there?
Leave us out dry, man. Yeah, man.
So now, this again, it's going to Marcelo, just so follow the story. Now the Cuban Missile Crisis comes. When the Cuban Missile Crisis comes, Kennedy wakes up one morning and he finds out that the Soviets have put missiles on Cuba. So the Joint Chiefs and the CIA go to Kennedy, and the first thing they say is, had we supported the exiles, this wouldn't be happening. But now we got missiles there and we need to invade. We have an excuse because you can't have nuclear missiles 90 miles off the shores of Florida. So let's send in the Marines. And Kennedy goes, nah, I can't risk a nuclear holocaust not happening. So they're like, look, this is the excuse we needed. We blew it with the Bay of Pigs. Send in the Marines. Castro's a loose cannon. The Soviets will back down. This is for defending. So it's like, look, it's like picture the mob, right? You can't just walk up to a wise guy or a skipper, let's say, and punch him in his face. It's a death sentence. But if the skipper punches you, you can knock the shit out of him because you're defending yourself. Self-defense is you have the right to, as a man, to defend your honor, to defend yourself. So even in that world, you could defend yourself. So they're trying to tell Kennedy, it's defense. Let's go. And Kennedy's going, no, I don't want to do it. Let's just quarantine the island, he says. I don't want to go in. So, look, people have made it in defense of Kennedy. They've said, look, he did the right thing. He was on the brink of a nuclear holocaust. But the Joint Chiefs and the CIA did not believe that Khrushchev was going to risk a nuclear holocaust. He just thought, they figured he's just pushing us and figuring Kennedy's weak. Why not see if we could get away with it? So, you know, P.S., he doesn't go in. And now the Cuban exiles feel like they lost their second chance to take back their homeland. And now not only does Kennedy not go in the second time, and by the way, as a person, I just want to make this clear. And it's clear in my book in volume 2. I didn't like Bobby. I hated Bobby Kennedy. I liked John. John was a legitimate hero in World War II. He was courageous as they come. He swam around with his PT boat in World War II was split in half by a Japanese destroyer. He swam around a burning sea, picking up people and pulling them over and putting them on pieces of flotsam so they could survive. Then he dragged them all to an island. Then he swam 2 miles from that island in shark-infested waters to find help for them, bring back coconuts and food and water, and then finally saved all these guys. You cannot but love Kennedy, Jack Kennedy.
Yeah.
So when I think about, so look, he fucked up, I feel, at the Bay of Pigs and at the missile crisis. But as a person, he was easygoing. He was courageous. I could not but like him as a person. I loved him as a person. By time, that's from all my research. You're talking about years of research. I walked away loving him. You know, so some people go, oh, you know, he cheated on his wife 1,000,000 times. He did okay, all right, whatever. You know, like look, the world I come from, everybody had a gumara. You know, yeah, exactly. So what, right? Okay, big deal. So whatever the case is, I'm just giving you like I hated
that's
Bobby.
Your opinion.
But I'm close.
Louis, that's your opinion, and you stick to it. That's it. That's what makes you different, and this place different than everything else. You ain't swaying for how you feel. 1,000,000%.
Opinions, exactly.
There you go.
Yep. So I, even though I'm saying he fucked up and he did, but he did fuck up, and he really. I gotta tell you, those were two major errors. And the next thing he did was the Cuban exiles were considered the mascots of freedom. They were ousted by a tyrant. Castro, as soon as the exiles were thrown off the island and they came, let me tell you, the Cuban wave was one of the, I don't know if, Mike, I don't know where you're from originally.
Texas, man. I'm here all
Texas. Yeah, but I'm saying if you have Cuban family or whatever.
No, Sicily. They all came from Sicily.
All Sicilian, okay. This Texas guy.
Matt and Louis, imagine that. We got a paisan from the Southwest, brother.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Well, my great grandpa went to New Orleans first. So
There you go.
He was there first. Yeah.
So, like, we've intermarried so much by now that you never know. You could tell my sister-in-law's Cuban.
Alaska.
Yeah, I think in Texas or Florida, there's a good chance.
There you go.
So the Cuban exile wave was one of the best immigrant waves we ever had, because like when the Sicilians came, and my family, I'm Sicilian, Napolitan, and Barese. When we came,
there you go.
Yeah, we came with all laborers who just like the poorest of the poor, looking for work. You know, like that's how we came as Italians, and then the Irish. The same thing with the Irish, Matt. I assume you're Irish, Matt, right? The Irish was the same thing. The poorest. They fled the potato famine. So, but the Cuban.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But the Cuban wave.
Louis, Mikey did a show. What you're talking about, how they came as laborers, right? We did a show. We're talking about the immigrants. Mikey's got his family working laborers like we growing up with their scapines on and their dress pants, shoveling concrete.
Yeah.
Only the scapines.
I haven't heard that in years. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So the Cuban wave, why it's different, right? Castro was like, it's a communist revolution. So everybody from all different stratas of society are fleeing Cuba. So you're getting school teachers, professors, corporate people, and laborers. Yeah. You're getting everything. And they literally picked up in Miami, like overnight, like they're like industrious, like Sicilians. Sicilians came here. I got to tell you, Sicilians. I wrote it in volume 1 of my book. Some of the most industrious people, Sicilians, have done incredible in America. And and I got to tell you, they literally came here and picked up in a minute. How do you get?
It's incredible, man.
Incredible.
They didn't look for a handout.
I always say there's one thing I say about people coming in.
That's right. That's right. Hard work. That's right.
Can you imagine going to another country, not speaking that language for the most part, and then just becoming successful? But like when I think of my grandpa and them, successful. Yeah, they had a little grocery store. They worked. They did this. Yeah. But still, just to go to another country and be able to do. Let me tell you one thing though. With Cuba, this was wild. My grandpa, this was my dad's father. When he came from, they were from Palermo and Bissaquino, which is near Palermo. He came through South America. His brothers came through Ellis Island. He went over to Cuba, and his paperwork has him declaring at in Florida, the Keys, in the Florida Keys, as his last place he came from was Cuba.
Wow.
And that was 1920.
Wow.
I want to say 1926. I got all this paperwork.
Hemingway's Cuba.
You know what I mean? It just, I never even think of that. You're talking about Cuba and everything. I'm like, man, my grandpa went to Cuba, went up there, and then he met his brothers up in New York from there. But anyway, that's wild.
Yeah, man. Incredible. Yeah, great story. See, a lot of them ended up in South America. I remember I talked to a girl years ago. She said her family, they thought they were going to, I forget what the word is, but it was a slip of the tongue, and they ended up in a country in South America. Like they said, bring us here, and they thought the ship was bringing them here. And it was a completely different. It was like she was like about 1,500 miles off.
Yeah, here you go again.
Well, I had some family, the same side of the family. My grandpa's brother, his cousins went to Venezuela.
Yeah.
And they opened a pasta factory, a glass company. Well, when Venezuela fell apart just recently, they had to get out of there as fast as they could.
Yeah.
Smuggle. One of them was a heart doctor, man. And
my father had friends that were from Argentina. They were Italian, but Argentine.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. There's a whole load of
Villanueva was the last name.
Yeah,
different.
Same thing, man. And boy, they just, soon as all that, in fact, when one of his sons graduated, I was looking at the video. This was when Chavez was in power. Chavez's child was also there at the was graduating. So Hugo Chavez was there at this graduate. I was looking at the video going, hey, that's Chavez. What the hell? And his son's in school with him. I was like, damn.
Yeah,
but anyway, just.
And what Craig was saying, I had a friend of mine, Tony, when I was a kid, spoke fluent Italian, and I knew he's from Argentina. I said, where'd you learn Italian? He goes, we didn't know Italians in Argentina. He goes, there's a lot of us down there. I had no idea until he told me that. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Hey, Louis, I don't know if you know. I mean, just to, I'll tell you, Lou, when you ever get a break or whatever it is, we got to do something. No, we do a lot of shit. I know you're high level, brother, but you're one of the crew. I can just feel it. We break balls all the time. That's all we do.
No, I'm not. Believe me, I'm down. Yeah.
The only thing that, Mike, I can relate to the Cuban. Here I go, cracking jokes again. I don't know when to stop. That's what I was told my whole life. But anyway, my father, they used to tell him, I called my father Black, Joe Black, right? That was just a nickname, whatever, from home. But the reason why the Black was there for a reason.
Yeah.
They said that he got, anybody out there, listen, I get very dark in the summer too, so relax and be upset by this. I don't really care. He break my old man's chops. His neck got so black getting the sun that they thought he was Cuban. They used to break his balls and tell he was Cuban.
That's how my dad was.
Listen, it is what it is, guys. That's my story.
Yeah, my mother's mother was the Sicilian.
Maddie.
When she used to pick her up at school, my mother would say, they'd say, there's a black woman outside to pick you up.
Said, no, you take the sun well.
Yeah,
no, that's true, man. I got a story like that at a funeral thing. They go, hey, there's some guy out there, man. I don't know. He's working on his car. They go, I don't know if they said it was a black dude or a Mexican dude. Yeah, he's out there. His car's broke down. We can't move the funeral thing. My grandma looked out. Hey, that's your cousin. What are you talking about?
That's it. I used to break our jobs. Forget it. All my friends. You sure you're not half Cuban?
That's great.
Go ahead, man. This is great. This is good shit, man.
So I'll get back to so the Cubans now are supposed to be the mascots of freedom. Remember that, right? Mm-hmm. So they're supposed to be like we are painting a picture of them as these people were thrown out of their country, and if we don't help them, we're evil. Mm-hmm. So all America's behind them, right? Okay.
Right.
Now, when Kennedy double crosses them the second time, he makes a side deal with Khrushchev that he's not only going to not invade Cuba again, but he's not going to fund the exiles anymore. Their bid to take it back. So he defunds the exiles and then tells Bobby Kennedy, his brother, AG, Attorney General, if they're caught, no more training camps, no more sabotage missions, no more dynamite, no more explosives, no more machine guns. Lock them up. So now the Cubans who are trying to get back their homeland, they're being pulled over by Coast Guard cutters off the coast of Florida, down by the Keys in the Caribbean. They're being arrested by droves. And they're going, Kennedy not only double-crossed us twice, but now he's locking us up. So they hate him. So now who else hates him? The CIA hates him for screwing up twice. The Cuban exiles hate him for blowing their shot at getting back their own country. Mm-hmm. And the mafia hates him, especially Marcello, because Bobby wants to put them all in jail for the rest of their lives. And he's got millions of cases against them all over the country. And he's telling them, I'm going to decimate you. There's going to be no more mafia in America. You're all going to jail. And he literally deported Marcello to
Guatemala. Dropped him off.
OG.
Just talked about it. It's great, man. I love it.
Yeah.
OG.
Yeah.
Tell him what we were laughing at for an hour the other night. The guy got thrown out of a fucking plane, I heard.
Is
that true, Louis? They threw him out of a plane?
No, so he was like, they put him on a plane, and he was worried they were going to throw him out of the plane. He figured they're going to kill me. And then and literally, like, then Guatemala gets pressure, and they throw him out. They put him in Honduras. He's a little squat mob boss.
Yeah. That guy so much.
Yeah, he's walking around. He's walking through the jungle in snakeskin shoes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey man, to the door. He got balls all the way to the end, man.
Oh my gosh. So, and he's going to the lawyer who stuck with him. He's going, look, if I don't make it, because he broke 2 ribs, he's huffing and puffing, he thinks he's gonna have a heart attack. He goes, look, if I don't make it, you tell my brothers. Marcello had brothers who were all in the life. He says, if I don't make it, you tell my brothers, he says, to do what they got to do.
Handle this. Yeah, there you go. I love it, man. He's a tip. I didn't know none of this. This is great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he goes, you tell my brothers, do what they got to do with this effing Bobby. So then,
pissed
Marcelo,
everybody off.
He just makes it, just survives, gets back, and then Marcelo starts to tell people this SOB is going. So he starts with Bobby, and then at some point or another, he starts to shift the conversations, and he's telling people, "I'm going to clip the president." And I give there were witnesses who heard him twice on two different occasions, different witnesses, two different occasions, where they said, look, you worried about being deported again because he made it back to the United States. He's fighting deportation again. Bobby was embarrassed because he illegally deported him, and he ate some crow because of it. And now they said, are you worried about being deported again? He goes, look, my wife cries every night, he said. And my kids, he says, are nervous wrecks, he says. What do you love your wife and kids, right? You're willing to kill for your wife and kids. He goes, I can't let them live like this. He goes, I'm going to kill that son of a bitch. They go, who? Bobby? He goes, no. He goes, you kill Bobby. He says, these are the two things he said, one and then another. He says, you kill Bobby, you're just cutting the tail off the dog. He goes, the dog's still going to bite you, he says. He goes, you got to cut the head off, and then the dog dies head and tail together. He goes, Jack is the head. So another time, another guy asked him, you're going to clip Bobby? And he says, no, we're going for Jack. And he says, why? And he says, if you kill Bobby, that son of a bitch from the White House is going to send the Marines out or the National Guard. He goes, we'll be done. He says, you kill Jack. He says, Bobby's disempowered overnight. Yeah. So these are the things he's saying. This is a year out. This is a year out. So now I believe, and this is what the evidence bears out, that Marcelo is working close with the Cuban exiles who he's now funding. So the Cuban exiles is still using these training camps in Louisiana and Florida, and Traficante and Marcelo are funding them. Marcelo's doing over $1 billion a year. This is coming from a direct source from Aaron Cohn, who was the head of the Louisiana State Commission of Crime Commission. He said over back then. Can
you imagine?
There were countries in South America that weren't doing that.
Didn't have that, yeah.
Doing by himself.
Imagine that. Something, man.
Yeah, powerhouse. Beyond.
So, incredible. So Marcelo says, look, I'm going to fund you. So he gets close with the exiles. Then the CIA was already working with Traficante to kill Castro. And then at some point, I think that turned, there was a guy, David Ferry, and it's important. I urge people to read the book because it's all in the book. David Ferry was this crazy guy. He looked crazy, he acted crazy, but he was a genius. The guy was an absolute genius, and he was a mastermind. And the Cubans called him the master of intrigue because he could weave these intricate plans, like incredible plans, like how to 1 second. Guys, we could keep running. Hey, John.
Mr. Ferrante.
Hey, what's up, buddy? And I know I'm actually on a podcast and you're live right now, but it's so casual that I took the call. So can you call back?
Come on in.
Hey, John, say hello from England.
Hey, John, what do you say, pal? Listen, bring me prosciutto, olives, and a nice piece of bread. We're good.
John, you're live.
All right, John, you're all right with us, pal.
Okay, so did you guys ever see the Gangster Code, Inside the Gangster's Code on Discovery Channel when I went to all the countries?
Your special? I saw it long ago, though, very long ago.
Yep, so that was, John was the mastermind. He was the producer behind that.
Beautiful piece. That was a beautiful, that's the one you got on my radar, but I didn't, then years later, podcast. But yeah, I saw you on that years ago, man. I don't even know how long ago that was.
Same here.
John was a brilliant guy. He's the one who took it from
Beautiful. No, John, it's a pleasure, man. A pleasure. Honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
1,000,000%.
Yep. John, you can ring. Everybody said hello.
Hard work there. You had to do all the hard work to all the time.
Yeah, thank you, John.
It sounds like you're very busy. Nice to meet you all. Good luck with the
Pleasure, John. Pleasure.
Okay, you got it, John. Bye, buddy. You got it. Bye, buddy. Bye.
Awesome, Louie. Awesome, bro.
That's awesome.
I'm leaving it in. I ain't shit.
Yeah,
that's
too
awesome.
Too much work, Mikey. No, too much work.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, but that's cool as hell.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah, this is the only podcast I could do that with, by the way.
Come on, but you know what? That's good because you should feel that way because nothing's. Me and Maddie told nothing's fucking fake. It is what it is. Whatever.
That's great. That's great. I feel like I'm hanging. We're at the bar.
No, it's the idea. This is the only way you get you back, Louis, someday. Listen, Louis, I want you to call Maddie, me, Mike. You got your balls twisted one day. I'm sure one of us are going to be pissed off that day. Let's go fucking on the air and fuck with somebody.
Yeah, just call. Hell yeah.
They got friends in Brooklyn. Fuck them. I saw yesterday. As a young kid, we heard that saying. Friends in Brooklyn, fuck them too. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. All these things. We could make a show about that.
Exactly.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Louis. Call back. I'm educated. This is great.
No, man, this is good.
So where was I with Marcelo?
I'm sorry.
Ferry. David Ferry.
There we go.
David Ferry is a genius, and he's got Marcelo here, who he's tight with. He's working on his case for him, and he gets really close with him. And he's working also with the Cuban exiles hand in hand, and he also works with the CIA. He was a pilot for the CIA. He did contract missions with the CIA. Ferry did. And he also practically lives in Guy Bannister's office, who's a retired 20-year FBI agent, whose office is frequented by all the Cuban exiles, the most militant Cuban exiles are in and out of his office every day. So Ferry is really the hub. I called Marcelo the hub. Ferry really is the hub of the conspiracy. And what I believe is Ferry then figured that, okay, the CIA is in on this. They hate Kennedy. They want him gone. The exiles want him gone. And Marcelo wants him gone. If I could figure this out and strategize and make Dealey Plaza happen, I could put the pieces together, and I build a case with evidence. And all the evidence, if you read my book, Matty Hoffa, when you read the second one, you're going to see all the notes in the back. Every one of those notes is where the evidence came from. So it's documented evidence. And I'm going to tell you right now, I got more evidence for this than any prosecutor ever had on me. And I did all those years.
I know you do, Lou, and I'm getting the book. And Louis, again, give him the name of the book. I want it to come from you, not me. Give the name of your book again.
Yeah, Borgata, Rise of Empire is Volume 1. Clash of Titans is Volume 2. That's the one with the Kennedy. And Volume 3 will be Autumn of Empire. That's going to be out early next year. So
come on, people, go out, get that book. Louis, go get the book.
I want to do shows just on that, man.
It's incredible. Incredible, Louis. Incredible, man. Incredible.
So
listen, Louis, if you, I feel terrible. I've enjoyed this so much. I know Mikey has, Maddie has. I feel bad. We've kept you an hour and 45 minutes, bro. I know you got shit to do, man.
I carved it out. I told Matt when we talked.
Yeah, I know, but still, thank you, man. So much. Whenever, we can rap whenever, and maybe someday, Lou, we got so many wise guy shows we can do, whatever. Good stuff now with these fucking much dead.
When number 3 comes out, there's a lot of contemporary stuff that you're going to know about. We could talk about.
I would love to. Yeah, because I can't, like you, I'm gagged with what I say. Matt, you guys know, I won't say certain things because guys are alive and, guys I was around from kid and the rule, the things you just don't say. But we could tell a story without, I could tell you a million, we could, I've always said this, you watch any of this stuff, I could tell you a million things for telling you nothing. If you listen, you got ears, you understand the street, you know this. These guys don't. I could tell you a fucking million things and not tell you nothing about it. Really. Right. You know that. But it is what it is, man. This has been great. Mikey, you got anything you want to Lou before we start? It's crazy. It's beautiful, man. This is love, man.
A complete honor, man. Thank you so much, man, and really, really enjoyed talking with you. It was great.
Same here. Back at all you guys, all 3 of you guys. Same thing. I'm thrilled. I had just so you know, I get fan mails, and I had a couple of fan mails talk about your podcast, saying, "Have you been on this guy? He's a great guy." So you're getting a lot of people out there.
Us?
Yeah, that was it. So
nice.
Really, dang, that's good to hear, man.
Yeah, it's nice. So keep.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, we walked away for a while. Family shit takes over, grandchildren, whatever, and not unfortunately, but the way we are in life, it's what you get on camera. So. Like if I didn't tolerate phony bullshit and out there at any point in my life, meaning like I wouldn't surround myself with that, or these guys wouldn't. Well, I have a hard time understanding that on YouTube. Meaning like So, like, guys want to, great show, this, that, the other thing. You extend yourself, you get phone numbers, you give them your email personally, you talk to people. And then you see them sucking up to rats. And I can't, I don't want to be, I don't keep your comment. Don't watch the fucking thing. I care less if we get one view. I mean it. Maddie.
Yeah.
It's just,
not
it's
true.
not tough. I know. There's no fucking awards for that. That's just, I gotta die. Try to relate it to your thumbnail 1,000,000%.
We're all a little rough around the edges, but we're real.
No,
that's right. Yeah. So the end reason was Maddie, obviously.
He's the Maddie Armor, baby.
It was no work. I found his email, sent him an email, got back to me within an hour.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Lou is
awesome,
unbelievably low key, great,
cool.
Great guy. If you ever come up to New York one of these days, we should.
Absolutely. Hey, Lou, you think you'll ever come back someday, pal?
Yeah, so I don't know to live, but I've been in and out, so I'm always in and out of New York. Yeah, so I mean, just
you ever come back to town? I know you know whatever. You could.
Are you still in
Flushing? I'd love to have coffee with you. You could, I don't mean to tell you. Understand what I'm saying?
College Point, right? Yeah, still in College
Point. Flushing guy, still my mom's there. I was supposed to be there now. He's in and out of the neighborhood. We're gonna fly our partner here to fucking New York, but we got the Southwest covered. You're covered everywhere, Lou. You thought you wouldn't get back just when you were out. You back in,
Great. That's great.
I'm gonna shut this. Let's stay here for a second. I want to just keep us here for a minute.
Okay.
And then we'll get out of here. What the fuck? Thing don't want to show. I tell you, it pays to get an iPhone, I guess, right?